All right, we're about to do this, Dr.
All
Phil.
right.
The doctor, Mr. McGraw, doctor. Ready? You pointed to me? All right. Welcome back to the hottest show in the galaxy. It's the Karen Hunter Show. We're here on Sirius XM Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. And I'm joined by a man whose psychological ruminations seem to make people feel better, or at least gives us some perspective on life. I'm sure of it. Let me welcome to the show another season of this great show, Dr. Phil McGraw. Welcome to the Karen Hunter Show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Look at you.
Yeah, how about that?
All right, let's go way back to Oklahoma.
That's a long way back.
Yeah, let's go way back. 60 something years. No, just what drew you to psychology? Because you had an undergrad degree and you went on and you kept going with it. What was it about psychology that made you want to delve in?
I really got interested, strangely enough, when I was 12. I remember the day, actually, the specific day that I got interested in. I got interested in why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do. And it was after I was an athlete. I've been a jock all my life. And we had a football team that was really, thought we were the hot stuff. Black uniforms, silver stripes, fancy helmets. We had a game rain out, and so the Salvation Army had a team. They called our coach and said, "Hey, can we come over on Monday and play y'all since your game rained out Saturday?" He said, "Sure." They pulled up out there in 2 or 3 pickup trucks, and it looked like the grapes of wrath getting out. They had football pants where their jeans rolled up to their knees. The guy across from me had on a button-up shirt with the number 4 in masking tape on his shirt. That was his jersey. And we're snickering in the huddle and everything. Had on slip-on loafers for football shoes. We got the best everything. And they blew the whistle. That kid hit me so hard it still hurts when it rains. They beat us like they were clapping for a barn dance. I swear. It was just up and down the field, up and down the field. And I remember getting in the car with my dad after that and said, "What the hell happened?" And he said, "Well, you just got your ass handed to you on a platter, boy." And I said, "Well, I was looking for something a little more in depth than that, Dad." And he said, "They were just hungry, son. They just wanted it." And I remember sitting there right then thinking, if they can do that much with that little, what should I be able to do with what I have? And at that point, I really got interested in what makes people tick. I really wanted to know that. And I started reading at that point. When all my friends were making model cars and stuff, I was reading about motivation and what makes people. At 12 years old, I was finding what books I could and started reading them right then.
And what have you concluded? Because I feel like, Dr. Phil, we're going backwards as human beings. I'm going to keep sharing this. I was walking down the street, and there's a lot of homeless in New York. And people stepping over bodies, 100,000 people in New York, California, people living in tents. And somebody wrote in marker on one of these, because they're doing a lot of construction around here, "Too many people, not enough souls." And it struck me because I was like, we seem to be in a place where we don't have a love of humanity. We're not looking in each other's eyes and feeling and seeing one another in each other's visage. We're very, navel gazy, climate. We don't care about a lot of things. And I feel like we're going backwards, not forward.
Well, I look at the homeless population differently than most people, I think. Because I think a high percentage of them are mentally ill. And, the mentally ill that aren't homeless are pretty much warehoused. We're not really doing a lot for them. We're putting them in chemical straitjackets and just trying to make them convenient. Just zombie them out and warehouse them over here. And then those that aren't in there are living on the street. And we're trying to come up with social, economical solutions for that. The first thing you got to do is separate out. This is not a homogeneous group, and everybody treats them as a homogeneous
Homeless,
group.
Right.
Yeah, that they're just homeless, and that's not true. You've got mentally ill people that are homeless. You've got drug addicted people that are homeless. you've got lazy people that are homeless, and then you've got people that are one paycheck away from being okay. I was in Detroit uh, not too terribly long ago with Mitch Albom. He's a good
I know
friend
who
of
he
mine.
is. Used
And
to cover sports. He was
yeah,
Detroit, and then he went into novel writing. An amazing writer,
yeah,
amazing human being.
yeah. And I was just with him a few days ago in L.A. But we were going over one of his charities there, and I was talking to a lot of homeless people that were coming to this mission, and I said, "What's your biggest challenge?" And I was shocked at the answer. They said, "Middle class homeless." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We have a whole new group of homeless people right now that were middle class just a few months ago before Detroit hit the skids. And these people are motivated and organized. We used to be able to show up at the shelter 5 minutes till 10 before they close the door. But now we got to get there 3 hours early because they're already there. They've taken all the cots. They got all the bedding. They've eaten all the food. They're organized. We have to get over there before. We used to could show up at 5 minutes till. They're our biggest challenge right now because they got their act together.
Hilarious.
It's not a homogeneous group.
Right, right. So what's our solution? Is it a lack of humanity? Like I think we see one another as. For me, I said we are our brother's keepers. I don't want to hear somebody say I'm not my brother's keeper because I think we are. We're not on this earth by ourselves. We got to be concerned about everybody. What's your solution?
Well, I think we have to stop looking past these people, and we have to start. You're never going to solve the issue until you put it in the agenda. It's like you go to the schools and you say we've got to start teaching these kids how to handle social media and get over cyberbullying. Until you put it in the curriculum and put money behind it, it'll never happen. Just making awareness, never going to happen. It's the same thing with homelessness. Until you come up with an agenda to start reintegrating these people into society,
And
it will
getting them
never
to help
happen.
and getting them to, yeah.
That's right. And just saying, okay, we're going to find a way to feed the homeless. That's not the issue. You've got to reintegrate them into society. I don't want to feed them the rest of their lives. I want to teach them how to reintegrate back into society. We've got to do something to. I've got a friend in LA that goes out and on the weekends and just gives these homeless men haircuts.
I've seen him.
Yeah, Jason. He just goes out and gives them haircuts, and it's astounding to me how it's all matted and they sit up,
yeah.
their shoulders
Yeah.
are back, they start talking. We're doing a television show. I'm developing a television show with him about it to show what happens with these guys, and that's what I mean. If you start an aggregate of little things, boom, 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 boom. So many of these people just need a little bit of help to get back going again. Learning that they can still have some pride and then giving them a track to run on. That's what we need to do. It's not about getting more food to feed the homeless. It's about getting money to get the homeless to be able to feed themselves. We've got to get these people where they feel the pride again and get them jobs where they can do something. I'll tell you something that my wife did one time that I'll never forget about. I lived to be 100 years old. We were going up into the Appalachians, and we got Burleson to work with us, and we got like 1,500 coats of all sizes, brand new coats, to give to the children up there. And we had this Christmas train, train was like all this, and we were going to give these kids these coats. And Robin, there were a lot of empty buildings up there, and Robin said, we shouldn't do that. She said, I want to go in and set up one of these empty buildings with these coats on racks in different sizes and let their parents bring them in and let their parents get them a coat and get that coat from their parents, not from us, from their parents. And I have never seen such an impact. Those kids looking at their parents like, wow, thank you. And the parents' pride in being able to take their child in there and pick out a new coat off the rack and fit it to their children. and take them out of there, and how much pride they felt as a parent and the family walking out of there, rather than us giving them the coat, letting their parents do it. And I can't tell you how many messages and all we got from the parents that said, that was very motivating for us to be able to take them in that store and get them something like that.
I'm glad you brought up Robin, because you didn't get it right the first time, or something happened, and then you found her. Tell me about your love story, your relationship with your wife. Is it Jermaine? When I watch Dr. Phil, she's there. Your boys, of course, but there's something really special about this woman, and yeah, I'm looking at your eyes right now. What is it? What is it about this relationship that has changed your life or made you a better person?
Well, we've been together. We've been married 43 years. We've been together 47, almost 48 years. And she's my best friend, and your best friend will tell you the truth. And people say, who do you listen to? Who do you get advice from? Who keeps you grounded? And it's Robin. You're in trouble with Robin when a sentence starts with, now listen. That's at that point, you better stop whatever you're doing and do something different. But
when was the last time you heard her say that to you?
It's probably this week sometime. I don't know. When I'm going over the shows and preparing them for the next day, particularly if it's women's issues or something, she really keeps me on the straight and narrow. Now listen, don't you say that to her. Don't you do this. She's great about that. And we have more fun than the law should allow. It's great. We had fun when we were raising our kids, but now they're raised, and it wasn't like empty nest syndrome. It was like, woo!
They're gone.
They're gone.
Yes.
They're gone. But we see our boys almost every day because they live locally, and either talk to them or see them. And she's just got a really great participative spirit. She'll do anything twice, and she just got a great participative spirit. And it was that way when we were going to move to LA. I said, I went home and talked about we were going to start the show and move to LA, and I was going to ask her what she thought about it, and I was about halfway through the sentence, and she's getting boxes and packing shit. She's ready to go.
We can't go through this world by ourselves. I say that all the time. So Dr. Phil, getting back not to the homeless thing, but drugs. I read somewhere we have a lot of discussion about cannabis on our show, and hemp, and the marijuana with criminal justice, which we're going to get into as well, with Mr. Reed, Rodney Reed, who is on death row, and we'll talk about that. But I just want to correct this or make sure I'm clear on it. You believe that marijuana lowers IQ? Did you say that? Did you?
I don't know if I said that, but I will.
Okay, all right. And what is it? And I've never smoked a day in my life. I believe in being of sober mind. I don't want people to smoke marijuana or drink or smoke cigarettes. I need people to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. But scientifically, people are hitting us with all of these stats, and every place I go now, I can't go anywhere without seeing a CBD or some sort of hemp or cannabis sign somewhere to get me to buy something. I just saw a whole shrink wrap bus yesterday. I was like, oh, they're really putting a lot of money into this. And John Boehner's now all in, former senator. Where are you getting your information?
How much time you got?
Okay.
Because I've got.
Time do you have?
If you give me my iPad over there, I'll give you 150 studies.
All right, just give me one. And just from your standpoint, what your experience has been. You don't have to give him his iPad. I trust Dr. Phil's knowledge. I trust that he knows what he's talking about.
People talk about this like this is my opinion. I don't have an opinion. I can read. I can read studies from the National Institute on Drug Abuse. I can read from Harvard University. I can read from all of these different studies that will tell you if teens smoke marijuana either occasionally or on a regular basis, it changes their brain not in a good way. And that's not a matter of opinion. And I don't care how cool that is or not. And there's some chick at Vice that wrote something about, I said, there's an 11-year-old kid on my show smoking dope. That's not okay. I don't give a shit whether she likes it or whether she doesn't. That's not okay. And whether you think it's cool or not doesn't change the scientific evidence. And anybody that can read the academic literature will see the statistics are very clear. And it's it just doesn't help a brain that's in the formative stages.
I agree.
It's just simple.
So,
This isn't my opinion. It's like saying, I come in and say it's raining outside, and you don't want me saying that. Well, I'm sorry, that doesn't make it stop raining.
right. Now, are you for the legalization
No,
federally?
no.
No. Okay. All right.
I'm not just personally, but
Right.
and that's just now that is my opinion.
Right.
Because the impact on the adult brain is completely different.
Right.
Because that brain is formed. The impact on the adult brain is completely different. And look, I'm a teetotaler. I haven't had a drink in over 50 years. Yeah.
Me too, sir.
Yeah. I don't drink. I don't smoke dope. I don't do drugs. That doesn't mean I have a problem with people that do drink if they do it in moderation. I don't want them drinking and driving, but other than that, I don't have a problem with it. But seriously, if you look at the literature on marijuana's impact on teen brains and preteen brains, and you come away with any conclusion other than it's not a good thing, then you're just simply not
Being
acknowledging
honest.
reality. And and here's the thing: the marijuana that was out there when I was growing up, and the marijuana of today, because of advances in agriculture, the potency of it is 7, 8, 10, in some cases 20 or 30 times more potent than it was back then. So it's the THC. Now, CBD products, so many of these CBD products are THC free. And I have seen powerful results, particularly with the cancer population, with pain and nausea from chemotherapy and things of that nature. And I don't know of, I can name you 10 different CBD brands that have no THC in them whatsoever. You get no high from whatsoever.
So you're good with the cannabinoids. You're
Absolutely.
Not good with okay. I
Yeah,
just wanted
absolutely,
to be
because there's no high involved, there's no THC involved. And if you're fighting chemoctherapy and this helps you,
God bless.
fill your tub up and get in there if it helps you, man. You do what you do. I'm great with that.
Well, I'm for the legalization primarily because there's so many people who look like me incarcerated because of deleterious laws around marijuana and other drugs. And I think if you're a nonviolent drug offender, that you should not be wasting away in jail. I think that's an improper use of our jail system, and I think people's lives have been ruined in whole communities.
Well, I tell you what, I would make a trade
Okay.
if the legalization of marijuana meant that you were going to release the nonviolent drug offenders the day that became legalized. I would vote to legalize it in a heartbeat.
Okay.
That trade-off is not even a close call. But I don't know that that's going to happen.
Well, it should, and that should be.
But
part
if that's
of the
going to
lobbying.
happen,
Yeah.
I'll be the first one in line to vote to legalize it if you're going to turn loose nonviolent drug offenders.
So let's talk about Rodney Reed for a second, and maybe more in a second. How you, because this case now is taking on a whole new life. Thank God, celebrities are now jumping in, bringing in. When did you find out? And I think you were the only person to interview him. Yeah. Tell me about him. Tell me what you learned.
Well, this case wasn't on the radar, and that's why we got involved in it. We were contacted by the Innocence Project, and Mr. Benjet, who's the lead lawyer at the Innocence Project, contacted us and said, "Look, we've got this case, and we're stymied. We've lost all steam. We're losing all these appeals. We're not getting any attention to the case. And we know that you have the credibility to get people to listen to this. Will you get involved?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I'll study the case and tell you. I don't just say it if I don't believe it." He said, "Will you go to death row and interview him?" And he said, "We know your background in deception detection. Will you go down and talk to him?" I said, "I will." And I went down and talked to him. And I set every lie trap that I know. And I came away from there fully convinced that an innocent man is sitting on death row. Then I got into the scientific evidence and things that we came up with, things that the Innocence Project has come up with. And there are 4 independent scientific experts that all say it is scientifically impossible that this man committed this crime. It's not a close call. They're not saying, well, there's doubt. They're saying it is scientifically impossible that this man murdered this woman. And what you've got is you've got a black man convicted of raping and murdering a white girl by an all-white jury in South Texas. And he sat there for 22 and a half years, and they're going to kill him 13 days from now if something doesn't happen. And I've been raising all kinds of hell since I got involved and trying to put this into the narrative of America. And people are starting to take notice, and now there are a lot of high-profile people getting behind this and pushing it forward. And I'm saying, come on, I want everybody on this train that I can get. I think Rihanna's now come out about it. Kim Kardashian's come out about it, and I got a lot of cars on this train. Everybody that wants on, jump on, because we need all the attention we can get. And I'm in touch with the governor's office on a daily basis. And I'm from Texas, and this is a Texas governor, and he's a really good guy.
So he can just, with the stroke of a pen,
Absolutely.
Stop this tomorrow.
But it's at the Texas Supreme Court right now. It would be improper for him to intervene at this point.
Right.
He has to let the Supreme Court do what they're going to do. They could completely throw this out and turn him loose.
Right.
And if they don't, then it comes to him.
And so we're going to put pressure on everybody. And I just thank you, as we wind down, because they tell me we don't have much time with you, Dr. Phil, so you have to commit to come back.
I will, but let me say this. They need to go to innocenceproject.org, and when they click there, Rodney Reed's going to be right there on the home page, and they can click, which is like signing a petition, moving for clemency. All they got to do is go there and click on there to support Rodney Reed, and that list is getting really long, and the governor will see that. So innocenceproject.org, and then click on Rodney Reed for support.
Cost you nothing to save a man's life.
That's right.
How about that?
And I'm not going to quit. I told Rodney that I would not quit.
We noticed about you because the first time I saw you was when Oprah was fighting with the beef industry. And you came in and you, Dr. Phil. So I have a beef right now with Popeye's chicken. I think that it's really bad for our community. And they may come for me, Dr. Phil. Can I call you when Popeyes comes for me? Will you save me? Will you come in and rescue me?
I will be the first one there.
Yeah, because Popeyes, why are we eating these sandwiches? All right, listen, Dr. Phil, new season kicks off. When? What's the date? Is it already? Are we already in it?
We're way into it.
We're way into the new season?
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. All right, you know what? Listen, I'm busy. Fix that. But let me tell me what's on this season that's like, I don't want you to catch me outside and all that bullcrap. Like, what's really important this season that we tune into?
Well, we're doing a lot of things like Rodney Reed. We're doing a lot of news stories that are really capturing America's attention, and we are doing an all-out, unbridled assault on the opioid epidemic because it's creating a whole new generation of heroin addicts among soccer moms.
Wow.
And because they start with opioids that are very expensive, they get hooked, can't afford them, heroin's cheaper. And so
just talk with Rex Chapman, former NBA player, about that. He got hooked on OxyContin. And
you go in, you've got a knee or something, they give you a 90 count oxycodone. There's no way you won't be addicted.
Well, I appreciate your work. I love you. I love what you do. I'll tune in.
Thank you for having me, and I appreciate it if you would watch.
Yes, I will watch you, sir. Dr. Phil, you know where to find him. And thank you for being here. Good man. All right, y'all. It's the Karen Hunter Show. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Painful. That's a nice watch.
Thank you.
Who's that, Tab?
It's a Nevitat.
Right there.
Nevitat? Thank you.
Make noise about Rodney Reed.
Oh, we've been doing that.
It's 13
Sorry.
Karen, do you think you can maybe leave? Dearest?
Well,
Love you, sweetie.
I didn't get him. I didn't get my full time either.
Debbie Smith,
So,
nice to meet you.
How are you?
Debbie, So whatever. I apologize for taking up your time.
We're done.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. Hello.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet
Good to see you. Just again.
That's I'm going to scooch on over there.
Bye.
Am I in your
All
way?
right, thank you.
Just a little
Thank
bit.
you. Next time we gotta talk about obesity. I'm struggling with it.
All right.
We ain't have time.
Start time pretty good.
That was important.
Thought so.
Thank you.
Debbie Smith. Same studio. We're good. Right
I
here.
gotta wait for my.
Am
Debbie, you're gonna be there. We'll do it this way.
Yeah, because Andrea needs to see me.
Where
She
do
needs to
you,
watch me.
where do you want me?
Right there, my love.